Sanella Aziz wants to know if there are any reactions to the new executive orders on environmental protection.
Right, so that's the other thing. So basically, he's trying to undo President Obama's clean power rules. These were done through a rulemaking process, which means that they have to be undone through a rulemaking process. He can't simply, by executive order, say, okay, these rules are done, which means that this rulemaking process will be susceptible to all of the obstacles that the last rule went through. It has to meet scientific standards, and it has to pass some type of legal scrutiny, because no doubt people are going to challenge it in court. Separately, Donald Trump seems to think that if he just cuts a little bit of red tape, that all of a sudden hundreds of thousands of mining jobs are going to come back. But the major problem for coal right now is economic. It is, it's so automated that, you have 20 miners employed blowing up a mountain. Rather than how it used to be tens of thousands digging through these hills. But B, natural gas is so cheap, and there's also an influx of renewable energy, that coal is just simply not economically competitive.
Lynn Acosta would like to know about the Medicare For All bill.
So the Medicare For All bill, Bernie Sanders announced that he's relaunching his effort to push that forward. You have a lot of Democrats who are saying that they support it more than you've seen before. I don't know if it's going to become the consensus Democratic position, but people are certainly rallying around it. The benefit of pushing something like Medicare for All means that incremental advances then may become more politically achievable. So Jeff Merkley, for instance, has been pushing for a plan that would allow people who are 50 to 64 to get into Medicare, which helps those people who can get into Medicare, quite obviously, but it also helps everybody who's 18 to 50 who is now paying a lower premium because they no longer have the sicker people or the kind of costlier people in the pool. The insurance companies actually like it. They don't necessarily want to insure those people either. The big opponents are the hospitals, actually. The hospitals make an extraordinary amount of money doing surgeries on people 50 to 64 who have private insurance and who can pay then significantly more for that surgery than they would under Medicare. So a compromise that's been floated in the past is called Medicare Plus 5 or Medicare Plus 10, which would say that, okay, if you're a hospital and you're doing surgery on one of these biddies from 50 to 64, we're going to pay you Medicare rates plus 10% to kind of pad up your profits a little bit.
Walter Yates is saying healthcare shouldn't be a for-profit business.
Yes. So should healthcare be a for-profit business? It probably shouldn't be. If it certainly can't be a free market business. Let's say you've crashed your car and the car is like smashed on your leg, and are you going to have two ambulances show up and offer competing prices for, who's going to saw you out of this car and drive you to the hospital? And if there's only one, what position are you in as you're sitting there bleeding out to negotiate a price? Like, the idea that there's a market for something that will literally leave you dead if you don't reach the right deal takes away the entire notion of free from free market. You're not free to turn down emergency services, and for some, if healthcare is a right, then how can it, how can there be a profit motive around it? Because if there's a profit motive, people are going to be deprived of it. I think, and if you look from the kind of efficacy position, the health insurance industry accidentally made the case for itself recently. They put out their own little chart saying, like, here's where your insurance dollars go to. 80% went to medical care. The other 20% went to overhead, profits, marketing, and a bunch of other stuff that have nothing to do with delivering health care. And coincidentally, the Affordable Care Act requires insurance companies to spend at least 80% of their insurance money on medical care. So for them to brag that they're spending 80% means they're following the law. And if that law wasn't in place, it would probably be even lower than that. Their job is not to provide care. Their job is to to not provide care, to extract insurance premiums and then keep as much of that premium as possible.
Okay, Pete McGrath wants to know if there's any update on the ISP privacy vote.
So it's a bill. Data Liebelson over at Huffington Post wrote about it for us today. It's using the device known as the Congressional Review Act, which is a legislative vehicle that says that, okay, this rule that this agency wrote is now null and void, and they can never write another rule that's even remotely similar to it. And so the rule that the FCC wrote said that if a cable company wants to sell your identity, sell your web history, sell your social security number, your other information, they have to get your explicit consent. In other words, they can't kind of bury it in some way and make you accidentally offer consent, and they certainly can't do it just because they have the information. And this Republican move would gut that, which would make it so that cable companies can just sell your identity without telling you.
The only last thing is that Pete McGrath is saying that the comments section when we go live is the most civil on Facebook, if not the internet. So they're complimenting themselves.
Well, as you should. I have seen an enormous number of comment sections at different media outlets, and I will say that this one over here at TYT is the most civil, and there are also a lot of very smart and genuine questions from people who are probing the issues and expressing genuine curiosity rather than just making rhetorical points, which is also fine. But it's true. I think the back pat is well deserved. And if you stuck around this long and you want some more, Google my newsletter and sign up for that. It's called Bad News. You can find it right there in your little search bar. I hope you sign up for it. I'm Ryan Grimm, Washington Bureau Chief for the Huffington Post, reporting here for the Young Turks.